So, they said the sunrise was supposed to rise today at like 6:31 a.m. And my biological clock woke me up this morning at 4:27 a.m. without the alarm going off. Usually could beat the alarm because I guess my brain knows time so well, it knows it's time to wake up. Usually beat the alarm by a couple of minutes, I guess. So anyways, Google, the internet, said that the sun was supposed to come up today at 6:31 a.m. And I finished cooking. Well, at least if I do cooking perfectly, not perfectly, but mastery. Like in mastery, like I see cooking and making food in the morning as an art form. It's a form of mastery. It's a form of it's an art form. I didn't want to call it Zen because that's just cliche. And it always takes me about 2 hours if I do it with mastery, if I don't rush it, if I give myself the time to be. And so I finished that 6:37 and it was still dark. And I was like, dude, Google lied. Because clearly the sun hasn't come up yet. For all those who are having trouble understanding this, it's November 1st. It's the first day of daylight savings time. Halloween was last night. And as I was getting to bed, but before I had like a myriad of hours on dating websites, starting to get very addicted to dating websites because I find it so interesting connecting with people in such ways. And I think the most beautiful thing is that all I really believe in these days is mastery, like mastering things. So I don't really have much time for these girls on these dating websites. Just adds to my sleep deprivation, I guess. Going on like day 4 of like a lot of sleep deprivation. Anywhere from 3 to 4 hours a night, 5 hours a night. Try not to pay attention to statistics and science and how you need sleep. Because if you really are sleep deprived, that'll just get into your head and mess you up. You'll start to think different things about yourself. You'll start to think that like people will be frightened of you, or you won't function correctly, or you're doing something wrong, or your life is going to fall apart if you listen to those scientific things like TED Talks and on sleep and all this other stuff and the importance of sleep. But if you don't allow those things to enter your mind and you just are in the present moment and you focus on the things that you really love doing, things that you want to master, and you don't focus on like how big of a deal it is, the fact that you didn't really sleep the night before or the previous 4 nights in a row. you're not really that bothered by it. Cute coughing guy. I love the old man I live with. He coughs a lot. I think it's interesting when people cough. It's gotta be painful after a while, you know. Smoking for so many years. All the coughing. Knowing that your body is just internally infected and black and destroyed. So interesting. So, the other day I was talking to this girl. She told me to watch this Netflix show called The Queen's Gambit. It's 7 episodes. And every episode's like an hour. So I'm like, I'll give it a try. And it's about this female chess player. And I became so addicted to the show, I watched all 7 hours of it, all 7 episodes, in one evening. There comes some light. Yes, good stuff. Got that midnight blue. God, I love it. Love that. Love being connected to this earth and the sky. Said the other day when I was making food, I heard like a rooster, and I was already up for like 45 minutes. And I said, you know, you're doing something correct when you're waking up before the roosters. I love getting up at 4:30 in the morning. I love it so much. There's nothing. Complete stillness. And on Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings, you can't hear traffic at all. It'll be like 4:30 in the morning, you can't hear traffic. 5 o'clock, you can't hear anything. It's just completely quiet. I love it. It's like this. You hear that? The window's open. There's nothing. Just sounds of some leaves. God, that's amazing. No human life form. Nothing stirring. Not even a mouse. So neat. I love it. Love having my window open. Wind coming through it. Looking at the sky. So back to this Queen's Gambit show on Netflix. I watched all 7 hours of it. And I'd say for the 7-hour time period, for about 5.5 of those hours I was standing up, watching it. And I had my cell phone, like, hung up on tacks on my wall to watch it. Because I don't like sitting for that long period of time, so I was standing for about 5.5 hours of the show. I watched all 7 hours of it, cried a couple times. There's 3 shows that I really geeked out on in the last 5 years. Number 1 was Sherlock, that BBC show that's on Netflix. Number 2 was Game of Thrones. And number 3 was this Queen's Gambit show. Those 3. So intellectual. I love shows and movies where people master things. Where they have such intellect. Where they're so deranged. In this movie you could clearly see that this girl was just the chess player in Queen's Gambit. She was very deranged. And I connected with her very much so. Like she had this thing about her where she didn't really need people. She had problems with addiction, and I have problems with addiction. And I think a lot of us that have these brains where we're just so, we don't really need people. We enjoy solitude to an immense degree. We're so weirdly, strangely unique in our ability to just drift and be and sit and not need things that average people need. Just go, drift. Something about us that's just so amazing, so beautiful. And if you could fuel that and master something, whether it's writing or drawing or music, usually in those forms, painting, you just reach this level where you really just, all you care about is mastering something. Nothing matters. Like nothing, like everything just kind of seems to just be secondary. You stop shaving, you stop showering, you eat less, you live on coffee. And people come around, and those people want to hang out. And usually they come around and they want to hang out because like you're so uniquely interesting and you just don't need people anymore. And you're like, well, that's the interesting thing. I mean, if you're a kind and nice person and you don't really need people anymore, like people like will come around and they'll want to be with you because you don't need them anymore. It's this weird mechanism. But you also have to be kind and loving and be able to carry a normal conversation, And you got to reach out sometimes. Message them every once in a while, call people every once in a while. So you're not a complete loner in isolation that becomes overly obsessed with mastering things. There's a balance. There's a healthy balance. I'm glad I have a sister. My sister, she teaches me the healthy balances. Sometimes I just get like fixated on like, drawing or writing, but usually it's drawing, and I'll just like draw and draw and draw and draw for like 3 or 4 hours straight, and I won't go outside, and I won't be around people, and I'll put up a sheet over my window so I block out the sun. It even gets to the point sometimes where I don't want to see people at all, and I have a bad relationship with the sun, and I don't want to see the sun. And the sun, like sometimes it even becomes like something I don't enjoy. I don't enjoy, sunlight and the things outside. I just want to be in the darkness and just create. I feel like that's my true self. Mastering. That's the only thing I care about, is mastering things. The sky's turning more blue. Have a good day. 14 minutes, 44 seconds. If anybody's watching, people of the future. Cue air conditioning.